All right, are we live? We're live. All right, here we are. We're back. We're back. We're back. Part two. Oh, hang on a sec here. Wrong screen. There we go. Now we're in business. All right, so in our first video, we talked about basically order flow foundation, the basics of reading a footprint. Well, I should say my footprint. We talked about my delta study, how it works, buy side and sell side, how they transact, and the basics of reading footprint. Prints, imbalances, and just kind of getting into the basics of everything and how to build a foundation. So we're going to expand on that a little bit, but we're going to go a little bit to the side, and I'm going to talk about how I trade it. In the first video, you heard me mention about fractal levels. Like I use order flow as a confirmation tool for my levels, right? Levels. So I trade levels. That's how I take my entry. My entries literally go on a single tick every single time, and I'll explain why. Okay, so we're going to expand about this, and we're going to talk about how I algorithmically trade. So I'm just going to put myself out there. I stand behind my work 100, 200%. I've been able to build out this ecosystem. My algorithm produces the trades. I literally sit here and just say yes and no, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons of it. You know, there's probably about 7,000 lines of code into my algo. Trades on top of these levels. Disclaimer: I will never give out my algo. I'll never mass license it. I have zero interest in doing that. However, if you click the link in the description, I'm building out this small community. You can come and watch it trade live, and you can take your own trades based off it, blah, 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 blah. But you'll never own it, right? And I'll never give it out. I do it on a case-by-case basis, and the 8 guys, 10 guys that use it, I've known them for like 3 years. I've been teaching them for 3 years, working with them privately. So I really got to get to know you and build up trust. It's just a security thing. The good thing is that it's all done inside Sierra charts. So I control the licensing for everything, and I can just turn off licensing to act a fool or do something stupid. So that being said, you know, there's live screen share in there every day. I'm just trying to build it out. I'm just trying to help people see what's really going on in the market and introduce into a completely different way of trading. All right. So that being said, let's just get into it. All right. All right, so my levels. Okay, we're gonna cover these bullet points here, and then we're gonna get into live replay. You're gonna watch the shit work. I'm gonna have my hands free, and you're just gonna watch everything trade by itself, and I'll talk your way through it and just how it executes. Right. So what are my levels? So I am a order flow trader and a fractal mathematical trader. What does that mean? Well, every day, price is trading off a set grid of levels. Right. So think of it if the big guys are trading HFTs, which they are, right? There has to be some sort of base coding to go into building those things. Well, what is it? How do you do it? What is the language, right? How do you build that into a chart? It's easy. There's only one answer. It's math. Okay, it's mathematics. Large buyers aren't buying moving averages. Okay, I hate to break it to you. They're not buying VWAP. They're not buying your fair value gap. That's for sure. Okay, they're not buying that. They're not buying your trend line. They're not buying they're not buying your RSI MACD inverse crossover, you know, all that crap. They're not buying that. They're not selling that. They work off a grid of levels every day. Everyday price is trading. See these levels? Everyday price is trading within a set of levels. Doesn't matter if it's $2 pump and dump, $5 pump and dump, blue chip stocks, treasuries, bonds, highly liquid markets, lean hog, sugar, NQ, ES. I run the same system on every single market I trade. Doesn't matter because math is math. Okay. So what does it mean? Well, every day, all day long, price is always trading within a grid of levels. It's set. It just trades. Um, Now, what happens if we trade outside this grid? Well, levels naturally will move up with it. Everything will just shift up or shift down if we trade outside a quote unquote grid. Okay. Inside that grid, there's a bunch of levels, and they're all perfectly spaced apart for the most part. Those levels all represent something. Okay. And I'll get into that here in roadmaps down there. But I'll give you a brief understanding. Every level, if it holds, gives a target level. So if a certain level holds, it gives us an opportunity to rotate up to this other level. And this is what my entire system that I trade revolves around. This is how I'm able to call the top and bottom of the market 12 hours before we even open the next day, because I look at a higher time frame of levels. Because a 4-hour calculation is going to be much different than a 5-minute calculation, which is going to be different from an hourly calculation, which is going to be different from a 10-minute calculation. Okay. And they're all differently spaced apart. It sounds confusing until you actually see it. And then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I wasted all this time doing all this crap, chart patterns, all this crap, moving averages. Whereas this is hard coded and it just works. How do I know it works? Because it's been around for decades. It's been around longer than me. And did I invent it? No, I just learned it and I mastered it and I understand it very well. I don't even need these lines on. I can calculate everything manually if I have to. That's how good I understand it. AI will never give out calculations on these levels, but you will find them referenced all day long in the Discord. So you'll have access to them and just, I'm not going to teach mathematical theory and all this stuff that I understand. All this stuff, it's not my place to teach it, and I just won't. Sometimes some things I got to keep close to my chest, right? So let's get back on track. Price is always trading within a grid, right? So a 4-hour grid can be this big, right? Big levels, big distance apart in the levels. A 30-minute calculation could be half of that, right? And then a 5-minute calculation could be half of that. And it gives us a workable range of levels to trade off intraday. And that's how I know, okay, if I look at my 4-hour frame of levels, 4-hour grid of levels, I understand that, okay, if this level holds, we'll rotate down to here. If this level holds, we'll rotate up to here. Edge cases these two levels. If that bear level breaks to the upside, we'll trade up to here. If the bull level breaks to the downside, we'll trade down to here. And that's my trade plan every single day. And it's extremely accurate and very expected, and it's great. So what does that all mean intraday? Well, price is trading within, say, these two main levels, and you got all these other levels inside these two main levels, right? Each of these levels give me information on where price can go intraday. So how does the market reverse, right? Because I mainly tag reversals, right? I understand where the market's going to reverse. Well, if you're a programmer or a quant, the first thing that you really have to program is risk, right? How do you program risk? Well, there has to be a set place in an auction where you are not interested in buying and you are not interested in selling. Okay. These are reversal areas, right? And they're pre-calculated mathematically. And this is just how price naturally moves. It doesn't matter what auction you put it on. It's always the same. And this is how I always wait for price to come down into these areas. And I look for the order flow and I look for the holds of levels to dictate what level I want to get in at. And that level will dictate where my profit target is. Always. That's all I do all day long. That's all I do. And it's very, very, very repeatable. It's as mechanical as you could ask for. And it's basically, you can literally be hands off. And this is why it was not extremely easy, but it was a lot to program to auto trade. But it was an easy approach to do it because everything is the same every single day. Okay. Every day I look at these range of levels that you're seeing right now, and they never change, right? The prices may shift up and down, but the structure around it is the exact same. I don't have to do anything. I just sit down and be like, okay, let's go. And then I just let things work, right? So that in a nutshell, and I'm not going to get deep into fractal levels, but when people say they have a model, this is a real model. Okay, it's not like those fair value gap traders who are just like my 2023 model, my 2024 model. It's not a model at all, right? That's just a chart pattern, right? Model is mathematics. Okay, it's a code base of mathematics that a model is based around, right? So algos have risk, right? You have to program risk, and they're not just going to keep buying a market because that's where reversals come from. They hit a point in the auction that's calculated mathematically, and that's where prices reverse up and down, right? Because they're not going to sell down at this certain reversal area. They want to buy down here. They're not going to buy up at top of this certain reversal area. They're going to sell up here and distribute the market, rotate it back down, and they're going to buy it up lower at a certain level. And these levels are what I work off. There's going to be an area every day that you're going to trade that you get frustrated, that moving average traders get frustrated in. And that's a chop zone. Every day you're trading in a chop zone. You'll spend a lot of time there where as soon as we accept into the zone, I automatically shift how I approach the rest of the day because we could spend half the day there, 3/4 of the day, right? Because of how this trades in this zone. I expect up and down action, which frustrates a lot of people. But I actually like this zone because I like two-way auction. I get the long, boom, get out of the long. I take the short at the higher level, bring it back down to the middle, and I do this all day long. So I actually like it. But again, as on a 10,000 foot view, that is basically how price moves, right? Algorithmically. People may disagree with me, but like, this is all I trade. From small caps to NQ to ES, it doesn't matter. It's been around longer than I've been alive. So I know it works because I look at it every single day. And if you look at my Twitter feed, you will see me post my trade plans at the end of the day from the previous day or from that day, and they're sent out the previous night when Asia opens, and these levels are the top and bottom of the market. It works. You just have to understand them. Okay, it really does work. Set risk. Well, every level has a risk level, right? It's really, really easy, right? Whenever I put my risk in, it's always pre-programmed. It's halfway in between the next levels. That's all I do all day. And it keeps me out of trouble because I know where to place my stop. Okay. Most people, this is where they have problems. They'll get in somewhere random and their stop is random, right? Oh, I'm going to risk this much this trade, this much this trade. The only unit I risk on a trade is 1R. 1R. It's a risk unit. Okay. And then my trade targets are based off R multiples. Typically, I'll go to 1 to 2R per trade, depending where we're trading. If we're in a deep area that I think price will reverse, I'll aim for usually like a 4R target if I want to be patient with it. But most times, 1 to 2R, it's all you need. And we get those rotations all day long off the levels. But my risk is always 1R. It never changes. So this is why it's so easy to build around, because it's a true system. I'm not going to go into why it's like that or whatever, but just set risk mathematically will always be way better than somebody who just said, oh, I'll risk this much this time, this much this time. And then you're not consistent and you continuously get burned because A, your entry's in the wrong place, and B, your stop's in the wrong, right? I see it all the time on the footprint. I always know where the stops are. And this is something that we'll revisit on the further videos on the talk about stops, stop run, how they target you. Okay, so that is basically algorithmic execution and set risk. Okay, now there's pros and cons to this. Okay, and trust me, I know because I built this from the ground up. There's pros and cons to it. The pros is it's kid. Here, Jay, bring it over here. Jay, bring it over here. Sorry, I'm a father first here. Give me 1 second. Just gonna help my kid out here. love my kids. Yeah, I'm a dad first. So, and that's different than a lot of you trading influencers, right? Most of you guys don't even have kids, so I'm a dad first. Okay, let's talk about pros and cons. The biggest con, let me start off with the cons. The biggest cons is market context. This is what I pretty much specialize in. Being able to lay out a daily plan, context of levels. This is something I'm building into it. But as now, as how it works or how main things work, it's hard to build market context into an algorithm, because there can be a shift in the tape on a zero print. There could be a soak where you didn't think a soak would come and do the planning, and there's a shift in order flow. Now, here's an example. Say we hit a reversal and we start one time framing down very aggressively. Now, in our system, directional moves down suck. We hate directional moves, right? But on directional moves down, there could be a shift in the table when we start one time framing down aggressively. The only signals that are going to fire are long signals off levels because it comes down, hits the level, bounce, and then it just gets sold through because we're one time framing down. Market side. So then we just keep getting drilled on these longs. Well, we have the inability. There's so many settings here. Now we have the ability to kind of turn that stuff off and on, and we have so many settings that we can mess with. It keeps us safe, but as a general thing, context and shifts in the tape, it's really hard to program. You have to be hands-on. So that is a definite, probably the biggest con, is the inability to really program context. It's something I'm building into it right now, but it takes a lot of, I already have kind of the brain behind it, but it's just going to take some time. So that for me in my journey building this suite out, that is the biggest struggle and roadblock that we've found, right? How do we stay out of that, right? And we've come up with some mechanisms, some settings to keep us out of it. But again, you have to be here, right? And maybe that's another con that I'll talk about, but it's not a con because from day one, I've always said this isn't something you're going to just turn on and walk away and go golfing. You can, if you accept the outcome, it'll just take every trade it's programmed to actually take, which is fine. But there's risk mechanisms in there, right? Max daily loss, daily profit. You can lock yourself out at time during those, but those situations, I would probably say is a slight con. But there is a whole lot of pros to mechanical algorithmic trading, and the biggest one is emotions. Okay. Most traders, you fail because you can't handle your emotions, right? You take a loss, you revenge trade, you do all this stuff. You are not in control with yourself, right? And that's going to be a later video series on discipline and how I live my life around discipline. And some people think I'm psychotic, but this is what you got to do if you're successful. Emotions, right? Algo has no emotions. It's going to take the trades the exact way it's programmed to trade, and it's going to be a robot. And that's how you actually have to trade. You have to trade like a robot, right? You have to have set risk, and you just got to go to work, right? And this is where code will always have an advantage over human, because the human is a fight or flight animal, right? When stuff gets tough or uncomfortable, we want to run. Algorithms will just execute all day long, right? They're like a marathon runner who doesn't get tired. They're like David Goggins. They just keep going. And they have no fear, right? There's no fear to trade, right? It will just keep recycling trades. And trust me, when you get hands-on with stuff and you start messing around with it, you start messing with how it works, right? And we're going to watch it work. But that is a huge pro, right? Is it takes the emotional aspect out if you get out of the way. That is a huge thing that people who do use it, even me myself, you'll get in the way of it. Actually, you have to let it work. You have to just be like, okay, let's go, right? I gotta let it do its thing, and it's basically getting out of the way. You will always be a roadblock to it, right? Another pro is set risk, right? So once it's programmed, well, that kind of goes back to the fractal levels and everything, but having set risk on every single trade and have it programmed automatically is amazing. You can program your whole entire trade, how to trail, right? That's all programmed. When to pull your stop to break even, that's all programmed. Whatever you want, right? How to trail, that's baked into the code. You can't change that because it has to be trailed a certain way. Um, all that stuff. How full trade management. You can just code it into it and you can just leave it alone, right? And just let it do its thing, right? Because once you understand your own system, I'm speaking from my system. Once you understand your system or the way I trade, you can just get out of the way and just let it its thing. That's the most important part about algorithmic trading, right? It's just I want to be as hands off as possible. I want to sit here and I want to get this cup of coffee, right? And this is all I want to do all day. And this is what I do with a lot of my guys on the mic. We're just sitting here watching orders rotate, putting risk on and off, and just cycling in and out of trades, right? 1R, 2R, 1R, 2R. We're just stacking R's through the day. Does it take losses? Absolutely. It's going to. This is trading, right? This is trading. But the whole goal is to maintain, you know, 68 to 75% win rate and just be as hands off as possible and just let this thing do it, right? The whole goal to building this ecosystem was to make 2 to 3R a day, right? And get out of the market. If you're doing that, you're in the top like 90% of traders worldwide. Doesn't seem like a lot, does it? But you only really get to that type of consistency when you start getting more and more. Okay. Now I can trade this totally hands off, like hands on, no problem, right? But I like to let my work do its thing. Right? And I sit here all day. I don't ever leave this. I'm here. Yes. No. Cool. Yeah. Let's go. I know when the orders are going to fire. I know when everything's going to rotate. It's just I know it in and out because I built it. Um. So that's a lot of the pros and cons. Okay. There's much more you can imagine. You can think to yourself, okay, what are the pros of this, cons of this? Um, the biggest thing for me is the pros is taking the emotion out of trading. Now you'll never lose that emotion, right? Because like it's always going to be there, but it helps you control it. Be like as you gain more and more trust, and you say, "Hey, I just gotta let this thing do its thing." And the only way to do that is to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you just got to give it a chance to work, and the best way to do that is just to size right down. So losses don't mean nothing, and then you get into a habit of just consistency and letting this thing work. Right? You got to build your trust. You got to build your system. I built mine, and you just got to let it do its thing. It's the most important part is you got to let it do its thing and you got to get out of the way. All right. Okay, let's move on. Roadmap. I briefly talked about this, but every one of these levels has a target level, and it's all I pre-programmed everything, right? So when I get into a trade, it hits it, it's going to go to a certain level if I let it. If I turn that setting on, usually I will just let this thing take 1 and 2 hour trades. I usually, if I'm going for a 2 hour trade, I'll pull my stop to break even. I have a program pull my stop to break even at 1 hour, and then I take risk off the table and I just try to let it work. Right. Um, Now there's sometimes, I'll get within, you know, say on the ES 2 points within 2R and I see this large soak. Um, Say if I'm short, large soak on the bid, and I'm just like, no, get me out of there. And I'll just flatten it manually, pull my limit up into where we're currently trading. I will do that because I never want to let that really go back. For this testing purposes, we're just going to let it run. Okay, and now you guys can just watch along, right? Um, so yeah, and the roadmap, every level has a target level, and I'm not going to explain it here how I do it, but just understand that price in general, that's how they want to code stuff, right? Like imagine an algo, imagine the guy flipping 2, 3, 4,000 contracts. It's not getting into a trade at a certain area without a target price of where it's going to price to. It has to, right? This is part of risk management. It has to. So you have to understand how they move that price, right? Where is it going? If someone takes on 3,000 contracts, where's that guy looking to move price, right? Those are the questions you have to ask, right? And that's what I do. right? That's what I've spent so much time trying to study and really understand it, right? And it's great when you actually understand it. And goes to my next point is understanding where you are. If I'm in a strong area where I think price is going to revert, let's say we're sold off hard and we're trading in the zone that I'm looking for price to reverse, I'm not looking for shorts, right? I'm looking for price to reverse. So I'm going to turn off shorts. And even if I'm getting short signals at the very lows, I'm not taking it, right? I'm looking for price to reverse. So then I will only look for longs, because that fractal framework that I'm trading in tells me, hey, bro, don't look for shorts down here. Let's stock the long. Start paying attention to the order flow down here, closes. And that's where I do my best work, is basically nailing the top and bottom of an auction at any given time, because I let it trade into the areas. And then I always know if this level holds, then I look for price to area. So that goes in part with the roadmap, is understanding where we are. Now, if we open in an area where price should reverse, like I'm talking open the day, I'm waiting at least the first 30 minutes, first half hour, because we could shift up levels up or down depending, because we're opening so deep into these zones. So I got to give price a chance to settle down, let stuff recalculate, get settled, and then I'll get into my day, right? So it's always important to know where you are for me. Now let's talk about real briefly about limit order structure. This is very basic. For me, I programmed multiple things into what I do, the automation, whereas I keep things really simple, right? So I basically order triggers. It's going to go on the level, literally to the tick, right? My target price is, well, for this video settings, we're going to do 2R, right? So basically it'll be the next level up or next level below. That'll be 2R for 2R unit. But I can program things. I can do multi-bracket orders. I can do 3 profit targets. Obviously with a single stop. Everything gets filled at the level, right? So there's never a market in, there's never anything. Sometimes limits will sit for an hour at a level, right? Sometimes it'll take 6 hours to come back to a level to refill a previous order trigger, right? And that's fine. That's trading. But the way I have things programmed is that it will continuously save like a massive queue of orders that continuously get triggered. So it rotates these orders, and it has an auto cancellation feature where it basically takes orders out when they become invalid. And it's a really beautiful logic. It's all built into Sierra, and it took a lot of time to get it right. Talking like a lot of time to get it right, but it works beautifully. And we have order cancellations, order swapping. It's just a really beautiful thing to watch. And it was a lot of trial and error, and it took us about 6 months to really get it right. A lot of coding, a lot of coding. But that's how the structure goes. Bracket orders are all OCO bracket orders. And just depends if you want a single target, 2 targets, 3 targets. Trailing, if you want to enable trailing, you could enable trailing if you want to trail. But there's many options. Tracking my day. Okay, so this is another thing here. Sorry for the long monologue here. It's important to talk about this, and then we'll get into live replay. Tracking my day. As you probably heard me mention, I track my entire day in R. I don't care what the P&L is. I care what the R is. R equals risk unit. Okay, so at the end of the day, I don't care what my P&L is. P&L is just relative to the amount of contracts you're trading. I care what I'm returning in the market. So what I am deploying as risk into the market, I want to know what my return on that risk is daily. Daily, I aim for a 2 to 3R max. That puts me in the very top performing traders in the world. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's all about consistency. I don't aim for home run trades ever, right? I don't hold all day looking for massive moves. I do not do that. Even on the NQ, I'm taking my 2R trade, 3R trade. Sometimes it'll go 150 points, 200 points for my entry. I do not care. I want to do the same thing every single day. Same thing every single day. Recycle R's, get my 1, 2, 3R out of the trade, out of the day, book it, see you later tomorrow, right? I don't want to stay all day trading. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I let this thing run all day. But the more you let it run, or anybody, and this goes for anybody who's trading manually, the more time you stay in the market, the more you're going to give back, right? So I have a hard performance level of like, I want to make 2 to 3 hours a day, be as focused as possible, and get out of the market, right? That compounds, right? 30 hours a month, 25 hours a month. Trust me, when you see this stuff work, you'd be like, oh, fuck, okay, right? All right. This it's possible. It is possible, but you have to understand how to get in, levels to trade. I do things completely different than probably 99% YouTube and trading because they don't understand that stuff, and not many people are willing to talk about it. I'm not going to teach it, that's for sure. But I do talk about it, and it's in my game plan in the Discord, and you'll have these levels referenced, and you have them. But I ain't teaching it, right? So it is what it is. But I'm extremely good with my time. I will help people as long as you want. Okay. And that's pretty much R. You should always track your day in R. Don't put a value around your P&L. I made this much. I made that much. I don't care. Even the guys in the room, we have a no P&L posting policy. We've always had it. We've had it for like 5 years, 4 years. I do not care about your P&L. I care about your R. That's all I care about. A, it gives people other FOMO, like, oh, I'm not in the same place this person is. Comparison thing is not healthy. B, it doesn't matter what your P&L is because it's all relative to the contracts you're trading. You could be trading 5 minis and another guy's trading 2 micros. It doesn't matter. What is your R? Is it 3R? Because 2R, because that is infinitely scalable with size. It doesn't matter. You can go from 2 micros to 10 minis, right? As long as the R return is consistent, that's what matters to me. Right? People may disagree with me. I don't care, right? That's how we do things. That's how I've always done things. And that's how you should do things, right? Because R determines your profitability, not your P&L. P&L doesn't matter, and your system's effectiveness. Okay. So after all that, we're going to get into some order flow and some hands-off live trading. This is going to be the open from the 16th. Is it June 16th? What day is that? Is that Monday? I got to check here. Tuesday open. Tuesday open? All right. I don't know. Let's just let it run, and I'll talk to you about trades as they come to fire up because I've got it set up a certain way that I usually have it set up for directional closes. Oh, yeah. Another thing is my system is all based around closes of candles. It never takes an entry mid candle or anything. It's all about closes and retests. Okay. And I'm not going to go into super depth on this, but this is just, you'll just see it work. And again, I'll be hands off. All right. So let's let it play here, and I'll just kind of walk you through as things develop. So this is the open candle here at 9:30. Let me just kind of. All right. Let's let her play. Let's watch some stuff here. So I'll be able to tell you, okay, this order's going to fire, that order's going to fire because I just know. And of course, we're doing this at 14 speed here, so I wouldn't be able to trade this fast anyway. You will see at the open of every candle, it will fire order. So there's no way I can do that. So we're pulling up to this level right here, right? We're seeing a rejection here. We'll just see how this closes. This may populate a short order right here, depending on how it closes. And it's got to close a certain percentage below the level. And this is all programmable. 2 minutes here left to go in the candle. Large soak there into 36. It pulls down here. I don't know if I have directional closes on. Let's just see. It'll populate a short here. Yep. Oh, no, it wants the long. Okay, so it closed closer to this level. So a long and a short both populated, right? Okay, cool. Right? So let's just see what happens. Now, a lot of times what I will do is I'll just drag this a little bit in front. Or say like here, if I got a large offer right here, I'll pull the profit in front of it. I don't need the full 2R. I'll just take it right here. But let's just see. Oh, I don't like this too much here. They're selling this pretty aggressively. Now, if this candle closes closer to this level, the orders will swap. It'll try the short. Let's see if we get an order swap here. 40 seconds. Yeah, watch this. See? Isn't that beautiful? So now it's going to take the order that's closest to the close of the candle. So okay, cool. See if we get a fill here. Now it might come down here, and then this order would have gotten filled, and it works, and that's just how it goes, right? So as you can see, all these little diamonds that you're seeing are order triggers. Okay, hands off. I'm telling you what's going to happen before it happens, right? So we would have got filled right there. What would have happened? Let's see if this saves our ass. Hard selling here into the level. Now, if we close beneath this level here that it's trading at, it's going to cancel the previous long. See, we would have got, see, beautiful. So there we go. That saved us a loss. Beautiful. All right, so let's pull back here. Let's see if this top level right here at 27, let's see if this holds a rejection bar, and then we'll get a short signal here. Look above. Oh, there's a nice offer right here, starting right here. Boom, no bid. No bid right here. Okay, so if it closes beneath here, we'll get a short signal. We'll take the short here, and we'll try to take it down here. We'll watch the candle close. Got 2 minutes left to go. See if we close below it. If we don't, it'll fire the short here again, back up at the high. It's going to fire the short again here. There you go. Told you. All right, so once the short, let's see if we get a fill here yet. You see how like the orders go on here and I don't do anything? They just wait to get filled, right? I don't front run levels. I don't move my orders or anything because my stop has to be in the exact perfect place. 1R. It has to be there. So I don't care if I don't get filled on an order. It doesn't bug me at all. Okay, on to the next one. Next. But you're seeing how orders are kind of rotating here. Right? It's a beautiful thing. Okay, we're going to close. Now we're going to close away from the level. So now this order is going to cancel again. Closes below the level. Closes above the level, it'll stay on. Yeah, so see how it auto cancels itself? So it's still valid. It'll fire when it comes back up to it. So now let's see if we get a long signal or a short signal in between these two levels. Okay, let's trade this level. Let's see if it holds the level and we get some decent tape. Now there's order flow logic built into, well, it's going to read certain things on the tape. It's programmed what I make it look for. All right, there's a zero print, some good bids coming in there at 12. Large seller there rated 18, of course. Let's see how this candle closes here. Got about 3 minutes to go. Good selling here into the bid. See if the level holds. Okay, so it still likes that order at the top. So you see how it fired it again, even though we're far away? That's okay, right? That's what it's designed to do. That's the only order that's in the system here. It's going to keep it out there, and it's going to cancel it again. If we get a long off here, let me pull this up here. There we go. If we get a long here, this top order that's up here is going to swap and come down here. So we're going to get a long here, and then we'll look to take it up to here. Okay. Yeah, beautiful tape here. See that soak right there? Beautiful, beautiful positive. Beautiful stuff. Okay, so we're going to get a long here and a short possibly. So we might get a short here and a long here, depending if this level actually trades. Yep. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, it closed over this level, so it wants the long. So we'll take the long here. Pull this down just a little bit. Hopefully we get a fill here. Again, my hands are off. I only move that order down just to get in front of the profit. So hopefully we get a fill. You'll see it pull my stock to break even. I think it's after like 6 points. So it'll be hands off. I think we get a fill here. And obviously it's free trade. This thing. Right, so that would be a 2R trade on win if we get a fill. Oh, come on. Come on down here. Right, we're in the middle. We're waiting. See if we can get a fill. Now, a lot of people are like, just give me a trade. I don't care. It has to come to my limit order to fill me. I don't do anything. Just leave it alone. We might get a short signal here as well. Now that we close back under this level and we're retesting it. So we'll see if we can get a fill here on the long. We might even get a short trigger here. Come on, give us a fill. Come on. I think we're gonna get a short signal here. This will be a nice sequence, I think. Now I expect price to rotate in here. This is an area that I always look for price to just be okay. We're in. Okay, and now hands free. right? Hands free. Get a pop. Boom. Stops break even. See that? Hands are off. Let's see if we get up to target or if we get stop break even. Now I don't care. I just let the price work. See if we can get up to target. Might come back to get me break even. I'm 1 hour in profit. We're trying to get that 2 hour trade. I don't care what happens. We got a short signal there as well. Trying to get a fill there. Just shy. You see how the seller's right there at 15? I get nervous about that stuff. There, I'm out. So that's a 2 hour win. Now, if this closes under, it's going to fire a short. 2 minutes to go in the candle, and it's going to fire along here as well. It's whatever candle closest to the thing here. Here we go. It's going to close. Okay, we're going to go short. Okay, we're in. Hands off. Risk is up above. Trying to move this over here so you can't see the thing. So we're here. Obviously, we're here. Here, I'll put them showing the fills here. There. You can see the fills. We're short here. Okay, obviously my hands are off. It seems like a weird place to get in, right? 17.25. Why? That's my edge, right? That's what I understand. Now there's a bid here right at 12. You can see it right here as we fall into the bid. Okay. Okay, stop break even. See that? Pulls it manually. Trying to get the fill here. Let's see if we get a free trade. Well, we got a free trade. Let's just see if we can get to target. Almost there. Oh, I hate that. A lot of times we come right to the level and wick right off it. A lot of times I front run the level while I can put. There we go. We're out. Beautiful trade. So let me just pause this right here. All right. That right there is 4R win. Okay. That's 4 R's. My day's done by now. Okay. This is a few hours into the day. That's it. Beautiful trades. Look, bottom tick, top tick. Pretty much top tick, bottom tick. Long immediately reverses short. That's all I need in a day. All I needed in a day is this trade right here. Boom, boom. Clean execution, levels, risk, automation, mathematics. Mathematics, man. I'm telling you. So we'll let this run a little bit longer and we'll just see what happens. So at this point, I'm done for the day, right? I'm walking shutter down. I'll put it on sim for the rest of the day and just let the algo trade and just track the performance. Well, let's just see what happens. Now, I think this price can go down to here because this is what it tells me it can do. Whoa, big sell in here. And hopefully we'll take some losses and then I can explain why. So now wants that trade. I don't like this trade, right? So if I was to take this trade, I would pull this down to like 1R. I don't like that. I don't like how we closed this week, right? Now it's still valid because we haven't closed under the level. I don't like it. You see, we just opened and took off. I don't like it. Even though it opened and took off, I don't like this type of close, even though we got good bid support right here, right? Comes back up to our level to short. Again, we don't get the short. Like this auction is being sold, right? These pushes are being sold. I don't really like it. We're below balance, right? This market wants to auction lower here, but we'll see. So this is what I would do in this situation. I would pull this to 1R, but I think we'll get stopped out here. See if we get pounds out here. Yeah, large selling coming in. Bid's trying to soak it here. Heavy. No. I don't like this. Just see what happens. I usually try to let trades work, right? But this, wow, they're selling it. Yeah, see how it wants to come down? Boom, there we go, stopped it. That's fine. That's trading, right? But I wouldn't be trading after 3 or 4 hour win. Let's just let it do its thing, and we'll just talk about automation. So it went right to the target level that I just spoke about. Right? Now, it still likes the short that's right here because it's valid. Right? It hasn't been invalidated. So now we pull back, we retest this level that we just clicked under. Perhaps it sets up a short signal underneath it. Or it's going to go down, rip all the way back up to this level, which I do actually hate entering. But we'll see what happens here. But I don't like even shorting these big ass pushes here. But we'll just see what happens. Just shy of a fill. You see how close that was? And this can get irritating because a lot of times you'll miss it by a tick, right? Happens. But we have offsets programmed that you can front run levels by a certain amount of ticks and let it I programmed it because I've gone through it. I don't like this trade even now on the short side, right? They're buying this very, very heavily. This is the tough part. This is the con about this is there's a shift on the tape where now this massive buying comes in here at 18. But a lot of times if you let it work, it goes. But the context here is that we come down here, we've broken below balance, we've recovered balance, and now they're trying to bid this thing up. Right now, if I'm smart, what I do is I get in front of this and I say, well, we've recovered balance. I'm only looking for a 1 hour trade in here if we can get the push back down into here. We just closed on here. Now I think we're going to push up. Let's see if we can come down and backfill this. This is the stuff we talked about in the first video. I don't like this close. We close with a very heavy bid, right? You see how it bids right away and pushes up, and then we take a stop there. So this is, now you've given away half your day. And this is where a hands-on approach beside automation will help you, right? This is a very tough area to trade. Normally, I only like going here and here. I try to avoid this level a lot. But you see, it just goes up right to the stop and then reverses. So when I do get stopped out, I'm usually the top or bottom tick. Now, what does this thing want? Now it wants a long. Do I like the long? It can work, right? So we'll just get in front of the level right here. We'll see if we can take it up. Got the open print right here. But still, we run the risk of this backfilling. So this is a very chop heavy zone, right? That I really don't like trading in unless it's the edges of it, right? Because this thing can just smack right down, especially with these thin prints right here, right? This is all good stuff. See what I mean? Drilling comes in here. They're starting to drill the tape. We've got to find a weak low and recover this level. See how they're selling the hell out of it right here? Now, if this recovers after that drill down, perhaps you have a chance. But this thing could come all the way back down here. Now, I don't like this. Now we close back under the level. So now it'll come back down and stop you out. See what I mean? This is a very tough area to trade. And this is where you guys are getting in averages, right? So we went from plus 4R to plus 1R. We're still in profit on the day, but this is why I lock out at plus 2R, plus 3R. I don't keep trading, right? I wait for really high quality setups. I can turn off levels, right? There's certain areas I don't like to trade. I really don't like trading this thing at all, right? I'd rather focus on here and here, preferably here. Let's just let it keep trading. 30 seconds left. Now it wants to fire this long. I don't really like the long either now that we're back below this, but we'll just let it do its thing. Right now, are we going to give away the whole day? This is what trading is. This is what over trading looks like. Let's just let it run. It's noon now. Okay. See, pushes are still getting drilled here. So you can see this is a very rotational day, right? But I expect this price action in here, right? This is all normal. This is normal for me, right? So I adjust as soon as I'm in this area. I'm just looking for it to just continue to rotate. So I don't stay long in trades. I typically adjust my approach to like a 1 hour trade, right? So the order stays on here. You can see. Now, they could pound this thing all the way back down to the lows, but we'll see. We're in. We got filled. You'll see how tough this zone is to trade. This is why we instruct traders. There's a certain way that you trade this zone. I'm not going to get into it in this video. You can see the sellers moving down here at 09. So they've got a really strong offer here. They're trying to pound it lower. 2 minutes to go on this candle. Let's see if it can recover. Very heavy offer here right on top of it. Very strong negative delta there. Right? Again, pound into the level. So at this point, I would look at this and be like, okay, we got a bid past 12 here, which is right where I be low, which is basically right where my 1R is. It's a very bearish auction how they keep pounding into the levels, right? So this is a level that I generally look for some bottoming support, but the auction itself is telling me it's very, very heavy. See how they're pounding the lows here at 07? Very aggressive selling. And now you're seeing the difficulties of not being able to program context, right? But the algo will take the trades perfectly. It'll do everything you program it to do, no problem, right? So here we go. We're going to try and bid past the offer here at 10. Very, very tough area here. You can see the seller's got a line in the sand right here. So we got to go pop, right? We got to drill these stops here over 12. Trying. That's almost a 1R. I can just tell this by looking at the tape how heavy this order flow is. I can tell where the stops are. Get a feeling of the zone. I trade this zone every day, so I know how it trades very well. But usually when we see this low offer here at 10, 12, like right on top of it, they're going to try to drill it lower. There it is, what I tell you. So they're going to come down, drive this thing lower here into, most likely we're going to come down to here again and go test auction lows, or it's going to tag me right here at the stop out and go boom, go ripping back up. There you go. So we've given away the whole day. And this is why I say consistency is everything, right? 2 to 3R, cut it off, right? As you can see, it went right to my stop and immediately reverses, right? Went right to my stop, immediately reverses, right? Because we're trading the same type of shit. So let's see if we can salvage today. We'll just leave this thing alone, right? But this is why I have a hard cutoff. So now it wants the short. Now that we've accepted underneath here, now watch. Do we take the short and get stopped out? We'll see. See if we get stopped out here. And we go negative on the day. So this is trading, right? This is why we instruct people to do things a certain way. Right? 1, 2, max 3R. See you later, cut off for the day. But you can get a hint from the auction that it wants to go lower, right? So those longs that it's trying to take, I would not let it take it. I would step in front of it and cancel the. I have a feel of the tape where this thing wants to go. So no fill on the short, right? Got within a couple ticks, no fill. Now we're going to come down here and they're going to try to bid the shit out of it, I bet. Trying to rip this thing all the way back up to here. So watch. Come up to the short and it's probably going to get ran over. So I expect price have a natural probability of bouncing off this level to rotate up to here. So I don't like this short location, but we're just going to let the algo just take it, right? Because it's doing things the way it's programmed to do it. But you can see how easy it is to go from a plus 4R to a 0, right? And possibly close the day negative. But if you can mix in the order flow reading and textual stuff, in, out, there we go. Now watch this. We'll get ran over. Strong bidding coming in here. 09, 010. Now remember, we struggled here right into around 10, 11, but look at the bidding that's coming in. So I don't even like this short because of how this traded, right? To me, I wouldn't be looking for the short. I'd cancel this short just like I would have canceled this long. Now we almost got nailed there. Got within a tick, but we'll watch this. We got a minute and a half left to go. We'll see if this thing can come down and get to a target. The problem with this target is that it's sitting in a new low a day where the level is. So it's like, is that the smartest thing to do? Probably not, right? Best thing to do is to grab that thing and put it above the previous low day. Plus, you got a whole number like this. Like, they're going to bid it right at 7,600, and it's going to be very tough to get to your target. So a lot of times what you can do is you just drag that thing up and just give you a 1R trade. But we'll leave it alone. What time is it? It's 2 o'clock here. Okay, it's 2 o'clock on the day. I'll get a little bit in front of the level just for shits and giggles here, just to make sure get a fill. But I might even get front ran there. It's at 98.50. So can we even get a break-even trade here? We'll find out. Very tough. It's having a hard time pulling down here. Sellers are right here. They've stepped down. Right? We got to get to basically 6 points here to get this thing to pull the break-even. You got a really stubborn bid here. Right here. It's here. Pulled down. Nothing to sell. Tried to sell into it. So it really starts here around 604, 603. Sellers come in. Okay, cool. There's our break even almost. Oh, 1 tick away from break even. Oh, look at that. Look at that soak on the bid. It gets really stubborn. Hey, 602, right? They get in front of 600. right? And get it really frustrating. So a lot of times these bigger levels areas here get front ran. It becomes really, really frustrating. So a lot of times I will get impatient with this, and this goes back to my first thing conversation. Be like, I get impatient, you start messing with it. But in this situation, like you almost want to get in front of this, right? Like 1.5 type of thing. So if it does come down, even 1R, just getting out of this trade, and that's good enough, because a lot of times this will hold bid, 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 and this thing's going to rip you and take you for a loss, which is probably going to happen here. So I don't like shorting the lows of the day looking for more lows, but we'll just see how this plays out. Now, if we close over this level, that is the time to get out, right? Because it's most likely going to trigger a long, and they're going to buy it the second the next candle opens, and they're going to go on a stop run. See, we're back into the 602 bid. Now, watch when it tries to push below 602, right? Do we have good selling? That's the key. Can't print below 602. Sellers are moved down here, right? They've moved down to right here. So here we go. Watch this print. Boom, boom, boom. Can't print. Look at that. Weak offer, weak offer. This is screaming at you to get out at 1R, right? It's telling you, hey, bro, get out, right? But we'll just see what happens here. We'll probably get stopped out. We'll just let it do it. But I don't like that. We just tried to come down, revisit the lows, and there's a bid there that's just very strong. So it needs to come in here, and you need to see drill tape. It needs to come in heavy and really try to smash it down. But there is a very consistent bid here, here, and here. Can't break it. Now you got this stubborn offer here that's right here at 06, 07, right in front of our level. So something's got to give, right? It's a game of about 5 points. But I usually give it to the bulls here. Oh, okay, we did get a break even right there. So we'll see if we get stopped out break even. We almost got stopped out there. Now here you get another chance to get that fucking 1R. Most times I'll take it, right? But we'll just see if we just leave it alone, if it can work itself down. I think it'll be tough, but we'll give it a chance. I think as soon as you get into like 601 here, 600, they're going to try to just see how we can't trade a tick here below 602. That's where your bid is. So it was here. They put it in here on this close. They tested it here. They tested it here. We're testing it here now. The offer's moving down into it. It's trying to get it. Here we go. Watch 1.5. We're just hitting it here right now. Watch this. See? Back over 02. Can we get a tick? Oh, give me that. I'll take it. Okay, there we go. So that's cool, right? So we're plus 4R, went down to 0, gave it all back, and now we're plus 2R on the day. This is a hands-free automation. I'm still happy as a pig and shit if I gave that all back and I got a 2R out of that just now. Again, my second opportunity to lock it down, be done with the day. But I would be done at 4R, 3R, be like, done. But for the video's sake, let's let it play. See if we give this trade back too. But you see how beautiful these levels trade, right? Like if I shrink this up, you're gonna go, oh wow, look how clean that is, right? Whereas if you didn't know this stuff, you'd have no idea that this really existed. So there we go. Now we get the drill down. Now you're like, oh man, now it went, 5R, right? 6R, 7R, 8R. How was it? 310? It's 310 here. There we go. There's the drill down. So there, if we trailed this, we go into the area where we look reverse. But that's okay, right? Ooh, I mean, it wants to take that long there. I don't know. We'll see if it comes down. We'll just let it trade. Usually I take this trade where I get stopped out. But we'll just let it do its thing. Still think that this can trade. This is our 75, 78 level. This is our level. It's been our level here. So I'm at 320. I really don't want to be taking any here at 320, but we'll see how the day closes here. We'll just usually at 3 o'clock. This is a hard cutoff. I don't trade past 3 o'clock ever. Well, we'll let her run to the end. Oh, it wants the short. I don't know about that. All right, we'll just let it take it. Remember, we're hands off here. We're just letting it do its thing. But we had a really nice stuff there, right? The orders, offers came. Oh, we were just shy of it. We could have gotten an R there. Again, just shy of getting the fill. You see how close that was? Well, that trade would have worked too. We just didn't get the fill, right? Now, I'm not using an offset here for my orders. Can use an offset, but I don't have a pro setting turn. Now let's see if this order at 88. Oh, I don't like that fill. Well, we'll see. See how fast it swapped it? I don't like that. I don't like longing, even though this level is still valid. I don't like longing on these closes. But we'll bring it down here and just see if we can get in front of this a little bit. See if we can get a fill here into that front of that offer. See how I dragged it down? I want to get in front of there. Break even trade. Can we get a fill? Oh. Oh. See, when you know order flow, you drag your orders in front of the offer, in front of the bid, and sometimes you just miss get fill. So we'll get stopped out break even here. We'll see. So if that happens, a lot of times what I'll do is, oh, there we go. Didn't even need to move it. Next candle open and popped it. All right, so it's basically the end of the day here. So what happened? We just reran the entire day, hands off. We were plus 4R, and we went to 0, and now we're plus 3.5R. So we almost made the entire thing back. And that's hands off algorithmic trading. That's what I do all day. Use my levels, which is my most important thing, and I use order flow as a basis of confirmation and closes confirmation of levels for it to trade. Like I said, I put myself out there, man. I stand behind my work 1,000 bazillion percent. Been years of doing this, and if you want to watch it work daily, by all means, fucking hop into the room, man. There's no egos here. You're gonna work. You're gonna work really, 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 really hard. Pretty strict with stuff. This is really for people who really want to learn how to actually, right? Learn how to actually know what's going on in the market. Don't come in my little community there if you're not serious, right? But as you can see, the edge, levels, order flow, automation, it all comes together in a really key is to being hands-on, right? And I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse how I really trade, right? Pretty cool. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I know this is a longer video, but I feel like it's great content, and you can learn something from it, by all means, awesome. And if you want to come how to learn the order flow, if you want to watch this stuff work in real time, you want to come watch my order flow screens, links in the description. It's free, right? We're just building it out. Come on in and get involved early, right? That's what I'll recommend. I'll continue to build out content. Come and build out with the community with us, and we'll just make 10,000 order flow. What I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do. I'm here to help. All right, guys. It's Saturday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm gonna go hang out with my kids. I'm out of here. Peace.